Well, they say the two most inexperienced people on set are usually the PA and the director. I usually say that to lighten the mood so that people can take me a little less seriously. I always try to just serve my crew as much as I can. Back at King's Studio with Zach, we had this whole joke where I have an alter ego. Like there's this goofy silly Dylan, and then they literally call it Director Dylan.
Nice.
I literally dress nicer and like I'm just zoned in, and they were saying you wouldn't even recognize me. I am not liable, but he may have taken one hit that was in the final cut. The final elbow from Sam when he spins hit Nate in the face, and he stayed in character. And
that's some DiCaprio shit, right?
Straight
there.
up, one of my favorite quotes is the most personal is the most creative from Martin Scorsese. Original content is just things that have never been done before, and what's more original than your own personal experiences that no one else has ever gone through. That first week, it was like the second day I'd been here. One of the guys who I'd been following on Instagram, who I had never met yet, Jace Hardwick, I was like, hey, I am in LA, what's up? And he's like, oh, you made it. Okay, sick. Like, because I would DM these guys all the time and be like, I'm gonna move. Bet on it, and they're like
sounds good, man.
Let's link and build.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, sick, not follow me back. And then one note that I would give as a director too is, and I've gotten this before, is whenever I do give those notes, like performance-based notes, I'll always walk up to the talent and just make it personal between us. Like I'm not going to be like yelling in front of the whole crew like, oh hey, can you like do that but like more energy or like better.
Take was trash.
Yeah.
Dorothy, suck.
It was
Who
usable.
hired this guy?
Yeah, it was usable. Let's run it back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 87 of the 505 podcast. Today we got a very special guest. We got Dylan Bradshaw in the building. He's a director, commercial director. He does short form stuff. The guy really does it all. He's amazing. And I'm really hyped because I think that through the audio, you're just going to hear his energy is infectious. He's one of those people that you just want to be around, and I think you gravitate towards. And that is exactly how he makes all these A-list celebrities feel, how he makes social media stars feel. And he really does brings it all to the table.
Yeah, I mean, he's worked with Charlie D'Amelio and with Chamberlain. He did like CRV spots that were in fucking Times Square and like China and stuff, which is, it's hard to get it out there, hard to make it translate out there. So, he's a good director. I personally was just watching, like I was watching him talk and I was listening. I kept like having to remind myself that like I'm also in this conversation because he's just so well spoken. I just like want to hear the crap he was going to say, you know what I mean? And I just feel like I was getting advice. So I feel like everyone else probably, will too. I like wanted to learn from him.
One of my favorite pieces of our conversation was him talking about like him being in a dark space in 2020, him listening to a podcast, hearing something, and then taking actionable steps and changing his complete life around to a point where he said he hated his life. And then a year later, he was talking to his mom being like, I've never been happier. And just hearing that story and hearing how he was able to take those actionable steps, because I think a lot of people oftentimes like sulk, and be like, this is just my life. But the way he's been able to manifest all these crazy opportunities is super inspiring.
It's amazing. And I think you guys are going to love this one. Also, dude, I just got back from the land of Oregon. Nice. Ducks by 90, beat USC. It's just classic. It's what we do. We're going to come and do that to you guys in next year to Wisco. But Kian and I went and spoke to my alma mater.
Nice.
Full circle, dude. Full circle moment. We got to speak to the Go Ducks interns. It was amazing. And I hope that in these we'll release all this in a little movie that me and Keon are working on.
Oh, sure.
But we use the whole time.
What did you guys
Lexar
use?
cards. Just
nice,
ripping, dude. Whole weekend, Lexar cards. And we even had rocks. We had a rock in the airport. We saw a rock in the airport. It was so dope. And
he was shooting on Lexar too, I bet.
Obviously, I gave him one.
Well, he's not a rock if he doesn't shoot on Lexar.
No, exactly. It was just so fun, though. So fun to be back at the campus. I saw some old professors that I remember. A professor that is helping me currently, like with doing this show with the things that he taught me. And it was just very full circle to be back in the land of Oregon.
You shoot anything on Lexar recently?
I did. And before we get into that, I just wanted to ask you, were you nervous at all like going into your speech?
Oh yeah.
Really?
I was so, because it felt so full circle of like, in my head, if you make money as a creative, you've made it. That's how I look at it, right?
That's your job.
And that's how I look at it. I've made it for a long time.
Sure.
I've made money as a creative. But going back to that, it was like felt some sort of like validation of like you're doing this thing, and like we know you're doing this thing.
And like the thing that you were wanting to do when you were in that position.
Oh, I wanted to do it so bad. I wanted to speak at that. I wanted to come back to that school and like talk to a group of people. Yeah. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And then, dude, they were rocks. They were rocks. It was so cool that some of them listened to us. And I was like, this is just this is a beautiful thing to be around these super talented people. Dude, they're crazy talented.
Oh, yeah, the kids below us are nuts.
It's ridiculous. I'm looking at their work. I'm like, you guys are 27 times further ahead than I was. And it's inspiring to me to see this next generation of filmmakers, to know they're fired up about it, to know they love what they do, and they're going to actually continue to move it forward. You know,
yeah.
I loved it.
When I went to Wisconsin, I believe it was like around this time last year, I was still touring with Loud Luxury. It was also a very full circle moment because I had the similar thing of like, I remember graduating college and not really knowing what I wanted to do. And then the first time I had come back was for a show that I was shooting with like this DJ duo of like, I didn't ever think I was going to like tour, and here I am doing it. It's just a really, really dope feeling.
Were you shooting those shows on Lexar?
You know, back in the day, I was not shooting on Lexar,
and that's when he was a small little pebble.
That's
you know?
Yeah. And I actually think it's crazy because like I think that the card like formatted by accident, and it was fucked up because I wasn't shooting on Lexar.
Exactly.
But you went to the land, dude. You posted a good set this weekend.
Yeah, dude. I've posted good sets from like 2 weekends in a row.
He's feeling good about his sets.
I'm gonna pat myself on the back. This was actually really interesting. So Danilo, shout out Danilo. He works with Curza. And I've always wanted to shoot with Curza because they kind of have like the EDM scene, photo, video, recap stuff like on Locks, and they do like the full festival. It's not like they're just working with one artist. They're like working with the full festival to create all the creatives. So he hit me up and he's like, yo, you free? And I was like, you know what? Like, I haven't really shot a full festival before. It was this festival called Disco Trip in LA. I didn't really know much like going into it, but I was like, you know what? I'm free. Let's do it. This was the first time that I had shot a full festival instead of just shooting one artist. So I was shooting from 2 to 11. Long day. And
storage.
Yeah.
That's a long day.
A lot of storage. You need a card that's reliable that long of a day. I mean, I think I shot like 4,000 or 5,000 photos throughout the whole day, and like, the Lexar cards, they held up. And it was also really fun because it was disco music. So it was just, everyone was like literally in like 70s clothes and just rocking. And the music was great. So that was super fun. And then the week prior, I went to Yosemite for the first time with my girlfriend. And I had never been, really wanted to shoot fall foliage. And I went out there, and Chase, I mean, you've been.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You haven't been, right? You got to get out there.
It's
you
so
have?
pretty.
Yeah, I've been to Yosemite.
Actually?
Yeah.
Oh.
Multiple times, like 7 times.
I feel like he's lying the whole time.
Definitely hasn't been.
Been
But
like
you
7.
posted a cool video, some locked off shots I really dug.
So
shot on Lexar.
Shout on Lexar, and shout out Lexar.
Nice.
But tried something different. Like this past weekend did the concert stuff, which I was used to. Last weekend shot nature, which I'm not very used to. And tried something different. Like I love doing the photos, but I tried making a video in a different kind of style, just all locked off shots. And I was like, this is really fun. But I say that to say, one weekend I'm doing landscapes. The next weekend I'm doing concerts. The whole time I'm shooting on Lexar.
Bang.
Come on.
And you can get yours in the description with the link.
Cop it down below, baby. Helps the boys out more than you think. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into episode 87. Come on.
God, I hope he picks up.
Yo.
What do you want?
Hey, did you call? You called, right?
Did I call?
Yeah. Hey, but I can't talk right now, dude. I'm on a podcast. I got to roll.
Are you currently on the podcast?
Yeah. Sorry, bro. I'm rolling a podcast with the bros right now. I can't talk.
Dude, give me.
I meant yeah. FaceTime.
Shout out.
He went for the
Oh, he went
FaceTime?
for the FaceTime dad tonight.
Dude, quick pickup,
yeah,
too.
really
Yeah.
instantaneous.
He's a good roommate. He's
I've
very
never
safety and
picked up a
well-being.
phone that fast.
Shout out Sam Noon, dude. Get some Lutz.
I'm so in trouble. Yeah, hey, buy Sam News Lutz. They're actually
great.
fire.
Then use
yeah.
them
I
every
use
day.
them. I use them to
Yeah.
literally color
literally
this
good.
podcast.
Yeah. So I
let's go.
want you to start off with this one-handed crack. You got big shoes to fill. I believe a 3-2. You said was Sam's score.
3.2. Yeah.
3.2.
Oh, nice. He's got it down.
I think you got that. Let me see what you got.
Here we go.
Nope.
Oh.
That was
The
aight.
audio was
aight.
nice.
It was aight.
I couldn't really
ASMR.
see it, but
Okay.
the audio was...
You-
oh, and just...
You were really. Let me spin it for me.
Did he slurp it?
You're blocking the whole can.
Oh,
you're
shoot.
blocking the
Here we
whole
go.
can.
Here we go.
Yeah, you did
Oh,
well.
no,
No,
that
test.
was you.
No,
That was
that
you.
wasn't me. That was
It
me.
doesn't matter either way.
You know, you were kind of playing. You were kind of doing a
I
little
was-
bit
I
of
like
that.
the foreplay.
Yeah,
That
a
was
little
good.
bit of foreplay with the lid. But I'm gonna lop out at 7.2.
Oh! let's go, dude.
Well done. It sounded fantastic.
It sounded good,
Yeah,
and
canon.
there was no dents, which was the big thing
Wow,
for
right,
the
that's
program.
how we do it.
I'm not gonna lie, I was fully prepared to just spill that everywhere. I didn't practice at all.
No, you did fantastic.
I'm surprised we haven't had a spill
a
quite yet.
big-
Like the whole thing.
Better knock on wood.
Have we
That,
not?
I wish you didn't tell me that because I would have been even more nervous. I'd
Sam
be like,
said-
oh, in the first one.
Sam said he was up all night in his room, and all he heard was pop, 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 pop. So did you get a bunch of cans to practice?
I know, of course not. I was just playing with my paintball gun.
He's giving himself ratings. He's like 5-4, nice. Yeah.
Throw it at the wall.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I was like, do I shotgun this instead just to impress them?
That could be cool.
Someone might wow us if they did that, but I feel like what happened is when you went to pour it out, there would definitely be liquid in there. If
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean.
Sprays everyone. You're like, why do we ask this kid to be on this?
Also, if you shotgun a full monster, you might just like go into cardiac arrest on the fucking pod, which we don't need.
We don't need that
A
at
lot of
all.
silence after that felt real weird.
Dude, so you just got done directing a music video with our boy who we just hung up with.
Yeah, that's
Bangers
great.
with the bros.
Bangers with the bros, dude. Let's go. Yeah.
Due dates over
So,
due dates, man.
All day. Yeah, we just wrapped it. It was a crazy project. I mean, Sam and I keep joking. It was a like 3.5 minute song. Somehow got to like an 8.5 minute music video.
Yeah.
It was pretty much a short film, honestly. I mean, we had a dance scene, a whole fight sequence, some acting in there with Nate Norell.
I texted Nate. I was like,
He's great,
I was
man.
like, damn, I didn't know you could fight like that, Nate. And then I was like, damn, they kind of did you dirty at the end. Like,
Yeah, I low key, I was kind of cheering for the bad guys because they're all like, I'm boys with all them. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, dang, I should have rewrote the script at the last time. Yeah.
Sam's like, what happened here?
Yeah, you're directing. Like, no, you win over him for sure.
No, it's cool though. We had like the whole cast and crew was just like friends, honestly, who just happened to be super talented, and I'm fortunate to have that community of people around me that I can bring in and make something awesome like that for a paid sponsor. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what are our lives, you know? So
And it looks like a movie. Like, it looks awesome, dude. Like, really, really cool. I saw it, like, I probably was the first one to see it. I'm not going to lie. I think I saw a story and I was instantly like, YouTube, like, how do I find this thing? I found it. It's so good. Like, it really is.
you think you watched it before?
I think
me?
I was.
I think I watched it before you guys.
I think I was the second comment on the whole.
Early,
Video.
I was gonna say I was waiting for your first comment. Like,
I think I did comment on something. Maybe it was a story reply to Sam, maybe.
So that's
I
not
can't
really
remember.
public.
I
Yeah,
texted
yeah.
Sam
Oh.
personally. I should have texted you.
yeah, should
Yeah,
have
my bad.
Snapchat DM me, dude. What the heck?
How many music videos have you directed for Sam?
Oh man, I think this was my fourth. So the first one was Take the Shot, and that was how I kind of started building the friendship with Sam. I mean, I met him initially in February of 2020, like right when I moved here from Ohio, and just at a film festival that he throws for his birthday every year. Met him for like 10 seconds and just enjoyed the festival. Was still kind of feeling out the community and the vibe out here.
Feeling out Sam, see if I wanted to.
Yeah, I was like,
hang
this
out with
guy.
him.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was just like excited to be here, and
Yeah.
I was blown away by how friendly and inviting everyone was, while also being extremely talented. But he was looking for a producer for Take the Shot, and at the time, it was like his biggest branded project. Like he was under wraps, and he posted on his story, and I saw it and just was like, hey man, like I'm super interested. I've been doing some producing here and there, creative producing. And then he reached out to me, had a couple good recs from mutual friends. And after we talked for a little bit, he wanted me to co-direct it with him just because he saw the creative energy and excitement and everything. So I ended up directing Take the Shot. And then it was just such a great experience. I mean, right from there, we just clicked so much. Like he's a funny dude. I would say I'm subjectively pretty funny. And then also, from there we did like shoots on Nikon, which was a really fun viral piece that we did. And then Stay Creamy was great. We did, yeah. And I think after that, Bangers with My Bros is our fourth. I feel like I'm missing one, but yeah, that's our fourth one. And we wanted to go above and beyond on that. I think, we had the blast.
Shines through. It feels like a big budget little thing. You're not little thing. I mean, big thing. It's fucking dope.
So when Sam comes to you with this idea, did he have it fleshed out, or was it just like the bare bones of a baby?
Yeah. So, I mean, Sam is incredibly creative, and him and I have a great working relationship. We just both can bounce ideas off of each other so well. And it helps that we have similar tastes and senses of humor. But for Bangers with My Bros, he had a couple ideas, and I had a few already. I listened to the song, dozens of times in my car just to like really flesh out some ideas and how does the song make me feel? Like, what are some funny jokes and bits in there? And we had a couple really solid writing sessions where we would dive into the creative, and I would pull inspo from all sorts of different mediums. I mean, like the fight scene was heavily inspired from like the Green Hornet, which is like a fun, super corny favorite movie of mine. And then like obviously Barbie was pretty fresh. So a lot of the funny like, oh, I'm hanging out with the bros was like him in the coat at the dance scene. And then the whole fight scene as well is also heavily inspired from Barbie, which is ironic. But, and I mean, it was a lot of collaboration. But he did get me on Bangers with My Bros. I was asking if, because usually it was a co-director relationship, but he just didn't have a ton fleshed out. And he wanted to give me a really exciting opportunity to fully direct this, which was awesome. I mean, for him to trust me with that and for it to be like one of his biggest projects to date, it was really awesome. So just dove into that, and I produced it as well. So I was pulling the logistics while also directing. Typically I like to direct solely so I can focus in on that, but it was a big project. It was a good time, like such a journey for sure.
How long did it take you guys to shoot?
So actual shooting was 2 days. So it was like a Friday, Saturday, and the first day was like the dance. It was pretty much shot in chronological order. So day one was the dance scene and the studio and the green screen bits. And then day two was the fight scene and the interrogation and the rescue. And I guess technically 2.5, because we had like a half-ish day where we did like the intro and the outro, like ad read. And then he actually shot the very last scene where he's burying his dead body, spoiler alert, in Iceland. He like did a trip out there.
Oh,
so
sick.
when he's like dragging himself and buries himself and like throws up and everything. So, yeah.
So for people who don't exactly know what a director does, because they might think that they just show up on set and are telling people what to do, how to act, but you're talking about how you had a hand in like the full creative. So can you kind of explain to our listeners of like what exactly a director does, and is it the same kind of project to project?
Yeah. Well, they say they're the two most inexperienced people on set are usually the PA and the director. I usually say that to lighten the mood so that people can take me a little less seriously and just enjoy their time on set. But yeah, a director is you're steering the ship for the creative, and you're the head storyteller. I mean, you are keeping the vision aligned with the logistical like execution of the project with the crew. You're making sure that the talent and actors are performing in an aligned performance with the script, and making sure that their performances align with whatever vision that the client has and that the producer and that you as a director have as well. And just making sure that everything is aligned and moving in the correct direction for that final product. So yeah, I mean, you're definitely like the leader on set. I mean, you have plenty of support from your DP and your first AD and producer, production coordinator, and so many other crew members that come together to make this huge machine work. But I always try to just serve my crew as much as I can and make sure as a director that I am like elevating the standard of how everyone carries themselves, making sure that we're all excited to get the project moving and just keep having fun while also staying focused. So
How do you do that with all your buddies?
Yeah, is that hard?
yeah.
You know what I mean? You're working with all people that you've lived with, people that are, super good friends of yours. And I'm sure that when you get around, like, I mean, we're always laughing all the time, but like, how do you get people centered and be like, yo, hey, we got to fucking shoot this scene, dude.
Right.
We're running out of daylight, boys and
That's
girls.
your friend right now,
yeah,
dog.
no, Fred, I'm director Dylan right now.
Director Dylan. Yeah, no, it's funny you say that. Back at King Studio with Zach, we had this whole joke where I have an alter ego. Like there's this goofy silly Dylan, and then they literally call it Director Dylan.
Nice.
Where I literally dress a bit like nicer, and like I'm just zoned in and totally like they were saying you wouldn't even recognize me, but it's just me being more focused and professional and like, hey guys, like we have a mission to do. And I think it's a little bit of two factors. I think one, on those bigger projects, making sure I have a good first AD who can kind of play the bad cop every now and then, that I can trust. Like, I mean, Hudson Hopper was the first AD on Bangers with My Bros, and we've done a couple other, commercials and campaigns together, and he's fantastic. But love working with him because he's a fun dude and also friends with a lot of these guys, but he knows how to turn on as well and just be like, all right, hey, let's move it. And I think the other aspect is just, I'm very particular with who I bring onto my crew. And even though, I'm boys with everybody, like in those working environments, I need to make sure that I have people who are also going to elevate me and push me to be a better filmmaker, and also stay focused on the project and know when to be professional, and stay focused. So on Bangers with My Bros, like we were all having fun and stuff. That's such a funny title to say.
Right.
But on the sponsored project, Bangers with My Brothers. it was nice because the whole team was just so focused in. I mean, we were just having a good time, but no one was off messing around. And even, in terms of like taking behind the scenes content, like, we all know to just focus and get off your phone. Like, we got to shoot this fight scene and stuff. So.
Hell yeah. Did you know, like, have you directed a lot of fight scenes before? That was the part that blew me away. I was like, man, this is like legit, like choreography and shit.
Nate looked like he was getting punched in the face.
Yeah, he looked like he was taking some.
They exchanged some blows.
Yeah, I mean, he really bought into your vision.
I am not liable, but he may have taken one hit that was in the final cut. Actually, the final elbow from Sam when he spins hit Nate in the face, and he stayed in character.
Nice.
And
That's some DiCaprio shit,
dude.
right?
Straight
there,
up, dude. He kept it going, and then me as a director, I'm like, okay, we have to use that so I can say this on the podcast and be like, oh, we used the take.
Nate's like in the ER.
Yeah, he's like has a fake tooth now. Right? No, he took it like a champ. I mean, love working with him, and he's got plenty of awesome acting experience prior. But the fight scene was of course what I was looking forward to most. I mean, I love the classic. Like, I want to be a feature film director, and so that totally gravitated my interest the most out of all the scenes. But a lot of that was there was a decent amount of prep that went into it. I mean, I knew the layout, and I knew like the type of camera motion and framing I wanted to kind of hide those imperfections. But for this project, I mean, because I have done some choreography before for like some short passion projects to practice that were more dialed. Like I DP'd a short way back that had like the stunt double for Black Panther on it, and we had a ton of choreography with that, and working very hands-on with the stunt double, or stunt coordinator. But for this one,
dude, I'm on.
We all did the phone
actually
thing.
insane. That
Oh my god, it's Sam.
Is it actually Sam?
No, it's my sister.
Sam's like,
Sam, I'm on the podcast.
That would have been a good save.
Sam's like, put Dylan on the phone right now.
wait, Dylan. So you said that there was a few things with the camera that you were like, oh, I knew this from directing other fight scenes. How do you hide imperfections in a fight scene?
Yeah.
In case I might have to direct some people do that.
Or fight some people.
yeah, or
Either way.
I'm really good at that too.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, like, I'm just going to come clean. The main inspo for that fight scene was the final battle in Dark Knight Rises, when like all the cops are rushing out to fight all the like escaped prisoners, and then Bane pulls up with Batman, and they're like, oh, let's run it. Like, this is it. And when you watch that movie scene, it feels like the final boss fight in a video game. But when you look closely, like you can kind of see that like the choreography of all the extras is pretty like simple. Like, they're just kind of going at it, and you can kind of tell they're just whatever looks best and having fun with it. And the main choreography is between Batman and Bane, obviously. But so for this shoot that we did, the main approach was Sam and Nate had a very focused in choreography that we practiced over and over. But everyone else, we had them partner up with, because it was like 6 feet or 5v5, and we just had everyone buddy up and practice their own fight choreography. I mean, that was a huge benefit of having a bunch of friends of mine who I trust, who are also creative and just there to have a good time. I mean, like Gabe Rubiano and Alex Romo were two of the fighters in the background, and their choreography, I mean, Gabe did like a sweep kick and then picked up Romo, and Romo like flies in the air and stuff. And I was like,
That's like a little bit of a mismatch. Gabe's definitely a bigger
I know
guy
Romo
than
would
Romo.
clap Gabe, bro. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, like, it was really just us. It was a huge collaboration. Like, everyone in the background was just doing their own thing, and I would block them based on the camera composition. For certain shots, I wanted coverage where you would fill in certain edges of the frame where you'd see plenty of motion, so it looks like everyone's roughing it up in the background. But Sam and Nate were the main focus, and I was really just focusing on them, because at the end of the day, there's so much happening, and we're on a tight schedule that you have to kind of focus on what's really important and kill your darlings. So
You guys were kind of having some Fight Club, huh? Before actually filming?
Oh, straight up, yeah. Or like, don't tell anybody.
Don't talk about it, dog.
Don't talk about it.
You mentioned The Dark Knight, pulling inspo from there. Like, where do you get your inspiration from as a director? And I guess when you're going into new projects, like, maybe if you don't have something in mind, like, how do you find that inspiration, or are you just going off of a blank slate?
Yeah. For me, I mean, I always try to pull from my personal experiences, and like, for example, when Sam and I were diving into the creative for Bangers with My Bros, a lot of it was just us telling each other like funny stories and jokes and personal experiences and our favorite videos that just got us excited. I know I talked to you guys or sent earlier that one of my favorite quotes is, "The most personal is the most creative," from Martin Scorsese. And I think that's so true. I mean, original content is just things that have never been done before, and what's more original than your own personal experiences that no one else has ever gone through. So for me, I'm really always trying to pull from my personal life and challenges that I've faced, or life lessons, and just, you know, emotions that I felt that were impactful, and seeing how can I share those emotions and experiences in a different way cinematically with like an audience. So personal experiences, I mean, some of my favorite filmmakers, I love to pull from like Spielberg and Edgar Wright, and, you know, George Lucas, Nolan, and then a lot of my friends too. I mean, like Matt Como and Mitchell Mullins have always been like awesome, you know, role models for me, and good friends as well. And, you know, my parents, and, you know, occasional book or museum visit or whatever. But I just try to pull from everything, you know. There's so much out there with music and in life in general, like, just, it's a gold mine, you know.
The quote you said by Scorsese, you put in your caption when you posted about the video.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of go through them because you brought up some great points, and I wanted you to kind of like elaborate on them if you could. So the first one was bring the energy even when the energy isn't there. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, totally. So bring the energy even when the energy isn't there. So as a director, I mean, like I said earlier, you should be able, or just as a leader, or as, you know, as you strive to be the best version of yourself, you want to make sure that when you step into whatever room or situation you're in, that you're elevating that room, or helping the people who are there in that situation hold themselves to a higher standard. That's just something that I've always tried to live by. And when it comes to bringing the energy, I mean, as a director, people are relying on you to lead the ship and you know, make sure that everything goes as planned, and that they have someone that they can rely on when they don't know the answer to every question. And, you know, even if I'm not, if I'm tired, or if I'm not sure where to do next, or where to go next, or what to do next, having that confidence and that energy just gives everyone else the confidence to help me collaborate on this project and keep the ball rolling. So I think bringing that energy is so important. I mean, the charisma and the excitement can go such a long way to, you know, help everyone around you feel that energy and run with it.
How does a director kind of prepare for the shoot? Because, like, you know what, you got sports people, you're watching your playbook, you're you know, you're looking at all that stuff.
Dude, they're running Fight Club in the fucking living room.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but how do you prepare?
Fight Club. No.
How do you
One-handed cracks in Fight Club.
Yeah, I just hit my chest a few times. And,
how do you prepare for these shoots so you come out and you guys have like the best possible day?
I always have a little routine that I do before, like, my larger projects. I mean, with Bangers with My Bros, or even with like the CRV campaigns I've done, I always would remind myself, at least on the drive to set, like, all right, we're doing it. People are relying on you. You got to bring the energy, like I'm saying, bring the charisma, the character, and, you know, make sure that the people you're relying, or that are relying on you, that believe in you, like, that they were right to do so. So, I mean, I listen to, like, I have a playlist I listen to that I'll throw on to hype myself up. Like, one of my favorites is the Spider-Verse soundtrack. Just gets me so amped. But and I just like visualize like the success, and visualize myself performing, and just having like a perfect day. You know, because your thoughts are so powerful. It's so easy to get wrapped up in a train of thought where, oh, what's gonna go wrong? Like, what if this happens? You know, you need to be focusing on, like, this is gonna go exactly as planned. This is how I'm gonna execute it. This is how, like, the whole team is gonna help you bring that vision to life. And, you know, really, those thoughts will become your actions, and the actions will become your results.
It'll bleed into everything that you do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Any David Goggins on the way to set?
I do. I love Goggins, bro. Are you kidding me? I think the energy quote is from Goggins, actually. I'm not even gonna lie.
They don't know me, son.
Gonna carry the logs.
Dude,
Who's carrying the boats?
I do think the playlist, it's so like, I have this one song that I know all the words to, so that I know that if I fucking rap them loud, like in my car, that my mouth's already moving, you know, so I don't like freeze up. Because sometimes I'm like nervous. I'm like, what if I get there and I just don't say fucking anything? But, you know, if you're like saying all the words a lot, then you're like, my mouth's going.
What's the song?
It's like, you wouldn't even know it.
They're just driving.
It's the intro to a mixtape by this guy named Luke Christopher from like 2012.
But you
I
know it all.
the fucking words.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's a good song.
One day I'd love
But
you to
anyways,
perform that.
Yeah, one day for you. But I love that. I love that you have a playlist. I was literally going to ask you that. My question is, like, how do you feel comfortable with giving people like acting tips or acting notes? Did you act when you were younger, or do you just like kind of know exactly what you want out of an actor, or like, how do you find that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much acting experience. I was in theater in like middle school and in high school a little bit, just to learn, and for that purpose to try and, you know, gain knowledge on acting to be a better director. But for me, I think, and I mentioned in my Instagram post too, appreciate you reading it. But
Did our research.
one of the quotes was, or takeaways from that project especially, was having a clear vision of like your project. I mean, if you don't have that clear vision, it's going to be hard for you to make those decisions that would otherwise be very stressful situations where you might fumble or look to someone else who isn't going to have the answer or who's relying on you to have that answer. So I think when it comes to talking to actors and truly directing, just having that very, very clear and confident vision on what exactly I want. And that's just a result of the prep time and really paying or giving the attention that the project deserves. Having that vision allowed me to, talk to Nate about exactly the execution I wanted for his interrogation scene, or how I wanted Dave Cortez, our cinematographer, to maneuver the camera through the fight scene. I mean, because if I didn't already have that vision and wasn't walking onto set knowing exactly how I wanted this whole video to look, then it's just going to be a lot of time wasted of me being like, I don't know, guys. And then, now I look like I don't know what I'm doing.
Now you look like the guy who has the least amount of experience.
Right. Yeah, now the joke is not a joke anymore. So, but yeah, I think just having that confidence is so key, and just walking tall and having that clear vision. So
yeah, Dylan and I know about walking tall. Some of you guys wouldn't know about.
You're struggling to walk though right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't want to get into it.
Limping tall.
Too soon.
Limping tall.
I really appreciate how you named Dave's full name, and you put in your Instagram, like you credit everybody. Can you talk about how important that is to, like, if you work on a project, to give proper credit, or like why it is you go out of your way to do so?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Dave Cortez especially, he actually was one of the first people I met out here in Los Angeles, and he would bring me onto sets to just like first day see for him. And I was just doing it for like a buddy rate or for free even, just to learn. But he was bringing me onto the coolest stuff. I mean, we did a Marshmallow music video back in 2018 when I was a college intern out here. And he was always so kind and like willing to answer any questions or grab coffee. And now it's crazy. I mean, now he's down to, I remember when he asked to DP a project for me that I was directing. And I was like, oh, I'd be honored. Are you kidding me? And he was very excited to see like the growth I'd gone through. So having him on Bangers with My Bros was an awesome, like, full circle moment for me. And for him to bring that to life meant a ton. But everyone on the team, I look up to, and I see so much like passion and excitement for them to be there and to be a part of that project. And, the director does get a lot of credit, but that project wouldn't have been possible without that entire community of people bringing it to life. And I say community instead of crew, just because it was such a journey, and you have to really enjoy the people that you're working with to, have that exciting dynamic on and off set. So, Dave Cortez was killer. Hudson Hopper, first AD. And I even captioned on the post, Bjorn Rupin was a killer PA on set. Crushed it. And, most people look at the production assistant role as just something like, oh, anyone can do it. But having someone reliable with a great work ethic is so key. So many fires can be put out quickly, and so much can move faster when you have a strong production team, all the way down to, the production assistant or whatever. Like, it's so key. Everyone matters. Everyone is an important piece to the puzzle.
I love that.
And I think directing, right, is like all about making choices. And so were there a few on this that you maybe were like, yeah, we could have gone back and changed this? Or were there a few that you're like, oh, I loved this specific decision that I made, but we could have went this way, but I really enjoyed where it ended up? One
of the biggest changes that we did was the interrogation scene location was originally going to be in the same room as the fight scene, but last second at our shooting location, the location owner was like, hey, we have this whole nother room off to the side for just an additional rate, of course. Do you want to shoot here?
Classic.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you got us. But it was already a set decked and such an epic spot. You like the spotlight coming through to hit Sam while he's being interrogated is perfect. And I remember Sam was looking at me like, should we do it? And like in that moment, you can't, like, you just can't waste time arguing or debating like, oh, we should do, because 20 minutes go by. That could have been like setting up for lights. So I looked at Dave and was decisive and was like, this is it. This is the perfect spot for our interrogation. Let's talk budget really quick. And, we pivoted quick. Luckily that wasn't a drastic compromise. If anything, it really elevated the production value because it was an entirely new location. But I think small things like just pivoting on the fight scene or the dance number, like a lot of that was just collaboration on the day, just coordinating exactly what we wanted to make up for lost prep time, because it was a very short turnaround. Like once we got creative locked, it was almost pretty much game time to shoot. So
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, but like any of those decisions that are in the moment, like, oh, this effect isn't working, or oh, like this person can only shoot for 2 hours, but we actually needed them for half the day, but we need this other person, so their schedules are flying everywhere. Like having that confidence and relying on your team, like having Hudson as a reliable first AD, or having Dave as a reliable DP who knows like, oh, this setup would make more sense here and there, and for all of us to collaborate. It just eases my mind and allows me to focus more on directing solely.
And were these all friends that you made out like once you were out here? Because like you came out to LA in 2000.
2020.
2020.
Yeah,
Okay.
2020,
And so did you
February.
February
From Columbus, Ohio.
February. I knew it was Columbus, Ohio.
The research, bro.
He's
Let's go.
26.
February 8th.
At 12:03 p.m.
6'4.5".
Yeah, I was just
Yeah, you
6'5".
are tall.
He's
dude.
not
taller
that
than
tall,
me.
dude.
He's
Don't
taller
give him
than me.
6'4".
Yeah. I do have a size 14 shoe. That's crazy.
Oh. How tall are
I'm
you?
just playing. 6'3" on a good day.
Oh, no way. I thought he was
Yeah.
taller than me. I must be the limp.
No. I'm like sneaky. My friends say I'm sneaky tall. I like have the slouch. You know.
I'm the fucking same. I think I have short guy energy in a tall guy body. What? Because I'm like excitable. I get like really going. You know, I move quick. Most tall guys are just kind of like cool and, you know, kind of vibe.
Kind of lanky.
But I'm kind of like, you know? So I got short guy energy. So people on Zooms never think I'm tall, and then they're confused.
Yeah, I'm 6'1" offset, and then 6'3" when I'm on set.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
On Hinge.
Yeah, on Hinge, no.
You had an edge.
On Raya, no.
Don't lie
Just
to
trying to
us.
flex.
No dating apps. No dating apps. Get out of here.
Wait, Dylan. So did you know all these guys when you came out? Because I know a lot of them are from the Midwest that are in this group that like you're buddies with. But did you have a couple people when you came out here? Or was it pretty much just like, I'm just gonna figure it out in LA?
Yeah, so when I moved here, I just full sent it. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a job set up. I had just graduated from UNC Wilmington studying film, and was working on a couple TV shows and a feature film here and there, just as a camera PA to learn and network as much as I could, being like a fresh college grad in Ohio. But I knew I wanted to get out to Los Angeles, but I was in a weird spot in my life, like kind of having an identity crisis, wasn't really like driven or didn't have a clear path, you know. And I was also in like a kind of a dark space, like toxic relationship at the time, and with myself as well, and with this girl and everything. So but I knew I needed to get out there. I could just feel this like calling, or my intuition was like, you need to get to LA. And I remember I was in Miami, Florida in like January of 2020, and just losing my mind. I was visiting this girl that I was dating at the time. Shouldn't have been there. I was just wasting it. And I threw in a podcast just to ease my sanity a little bit, and listen to one of my favorite filmmakers at the time, who was actually Matt Como. He's being featured on another podcast. And the host was like, hey, do you have any advice that you would want the viewers to hear? And of course, I'm like, all right, turn it up a little bit. I'm like, please.
Give me something. Give me something.
I mean, it's just like, whatever. And he goes, hey, I don't really believe in going out and finding yourself. Like, you go out and you create yourself. Like, you're not going to find anything. No one's going to come save you. Like, you have to be the one to create the opportunities for yourself to grow and become the person that you like are supposed to be, that you are like destined or striving to become. And, you know, it was like a movie scene. I paused the podcast, and I was, you know, standing in this Miami apartment by myself, and thought, like, this is my life. Like, all these people, like my family and friends, they love me and they support me. But at the end of the day, like, it all comes down to me and my relationship with myself, and what actions I'm going to take to like make this change in my life. Like, I remember even telling my mom, like I don't like I'm not happy. I don't like where I'm going with my life right now. I just like, I hate my life. Like, you know, this isn't a woe is me story or anything. I have a great family and stuff, but I just felt so lost. And I took action. So I typed up a little copy paste message of like, hey, do you have anyone I could move in with? Like, any friends who are looking for roommates in the next 6 to 12 months, or anywhere I could look, and sent it off to like 20, 30 people on Instagram. Most of them didn't even follow me back at the time, in Los Angeles and Atlanta and New York and Florida, anywhere that there was some sort of film industry. And, you know, I sent it off. I was like, all right, let's see what happens. Set my phone down. And as soon as I set my phone down, it pings. And I was like, okay, pick it up. And this young filmmaker who I looked up to for quite a while, we DM'd a little bit back and forth. And I loved his work. His name was Mitchell Mullins. He hit me up immediately and went, "Hey man, you just messaged me at the perfect time. We were about to sign a 2-bedroom lease, but we want a third. Do you want to move in with us?"
Wow.
Like within like a 30-second span. And I'm just like,
goosebumps.
Yeah, dude. I'm just like, yes. Like, yes, absolutely. Like whatever you need. Yes. And a month later, I'm now in Los Angeles living with Mitchell. I've broken up with the girlfriend, and I'm in Matt Como's apartment, like kicking it with them and like celebrating Mitchell's birthday and meeting this guy who doesn't even know the impact he had on my life. And at that moment, I was just like, anything's possible. Like if you just believe in yourself and like bet on yourself and just take the action that you know you deserve and like nurture that relationship and get after it, like anything is possible that you like dream of or want to get after. Like any of our dreams can come true if you just have like the courage to pursue them, you know? So just crazy journey. There's so many other instances where my journey out here is just, it's almost been like a divine intervention of being in the right place at the right time with the right attitude.
Hell yeah.
Now, when you were in this dark place and you're dating this girl, right? And you're like, I don't want to do this, what I'm doing right now in life. I'm sure a bunch of people have gone through a similar thing as you and might currently be in a situation that maybe isn't great for them. They might hate their job, might hate their spouse, significant other. What advice do you have to them that where you were in that place that you told yourself to get you out of it? Because I know Matt saying this thing, like that sparked the initial like domino effect that ended up bringing you out here and whatnot.
Yeah.
But what were those conversations like maybe internally and did you have them with friends or family, or were you more like closed off and just dealing with it with yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I luckily have a great circle of friends and family around me who I can talk to and seek wisdom and insight from their own life experiences. But for me at that season of my life, it was just a matter of gaining that self-respect for myself. You know, throughout college, I had some great experiences like creating films and projects, but you know, I had, you know, failed here and there without, you know, didn't finish this feature film project or didn't finish this other project and people were relying on me. And it definitely took a hit to the confidence. And, you know, we all go through these challenges and adversities where we fail or we let someone down. But you just can't define yourself by those low points. You have to just move past them, or at least look at it in the most optimistic way you can and be like, what can I learn from this? Like, what can I do to move on and like stay focused so that I can not let down the people who care about me again, or you know. So, I mean, for me, I remember everyone was just telling me what I needed to hear. And it just didn't matter because it comes down to what you decide to do. And I think a lot of the times in my life, and maybe other people relate to this, but I usually know what I need to do. It's just a matter of working up the courage to just take action on it and like rip that Band-Aid off. So whether it's like leaving a job or a relationship or a city, or just like a lifestyle, you just have to take that leap of faith because that's the only way to grow. That's the only way to learn is like that baptism by fire. I mean, I mentioned earlier that I love listening to the Spider-Verse soundtrack to like amp myself up as a director. But I mean, not even just because I love Spider-Man, but that like the Spider-Verse film is specifically the first one. One of my favorite scenes is when Miles Morales, spoiler alert, is he's about to become Spider-Man. Like he has the whole film, he's been struggling with his confidence, his identity. He's like, I'm not Spider-Man. Like I can't do this. Spider-Man's like up here. Are you kidding me? Like I can't be Spider-Man. I can't be a film director. Like that's not who I am. And when people are relying on him to like come save the day or whatever, he, you know, puts on the suit and the mask, and he's finally up on the side of that skyscraper. If you guys know what scene I'm talking about, the famous one where he jumps and like goes down upside down. But as he's hanging onto the glass, he jumps off, and that's my favorite scene in the whole movie because his close up shows like the glass shattering off of his fingers. And you know, at first glance, it's just like, oh, that's cool. Like, whoa. But like the detail of that is the reason the glass shatters is because his fingers are still like Spider-Man, like clinging to the wall because he's scared, because he didn't want to let go. So when he jumped, he ripped off the glass with him because he was like afraid to make that leap. And I think for anyone who's struggling with like making that big change in their life, you're always going to be afraid. You might be like terrified, but like that's the point. Like you're never going to be ready. You just have to like work up the courage to like take that leap. And I guarantee like once you land it, it'll be so worth it. And you know, it gets easier with time, but actually I regress. It does not get easier because as you make those leaps, like you're going to want to make bigger and bigger jumps because you gain that confidence, you know, and you gain that self-respect to just start sprinting in life.
Yeah, that's great. Have you had a chance to tell Matt Como about that?
I did briefly a while back because I just don't want to make it weird.
Right.
Well, he's an avid listener of the podcast. I'm kidding.
I'm like, dude, you changed my life. Because I'm like all about like be a friend, not a fan. Mm-hmm. And Matt's great. Like Matt's a great dude. We have a ton of mutual friends. We've hung out here and there and stuff. But I gave him like a Spark Note version a while back. But you know, regardless, he's made an awesome impact on me, and I'm gonna keep getting after it to like honor that and honor everybody who's ever believed in me.
Did you think that when you were in Ohio, right, you want to make the move, want to get out to LA or any of these major film cities, do you think that you needed to do it? Now, like looking back on it now, like I know obviously LA is popping. There's so many kids though that are in Ohio, in Kansas, wherever. Do you think they need to make the move to make it as a director or as a filmmaker?
See, that's a very loaded question because I've thought about that. Like, do you need to go to another city to like, you know, jump the gun, like make it happen? But I mean, for me, I really wanted to come to LA. My main reason was I want to direct. And I feel like most of the mentorship and opportunity to become a director is in New York and Los Angeles. And I could be completely wrong, but I mean, it's been pretty great so far. So that was my main draw. And I honestly just had this like intuition to come here. I mean, you mentioned that I didn't really like, had I met these guys prior, and I didn't know anybody. And I feel like that was just kind of part of my purpose to come here and create those friendships. Like, even if I don't make any movies or anything, like at least I was able to impact some people's lives and be a good friend when they needed it or something. So I think it really just comes down to your personal goals and experiences. I mean, being in LA is great though, because there's so much opportunity. You know, everyone's shooting stuff all the time, but you know, I think being like, it comes down to you. It comes down to like, what actions are you going to take? I could be in Columbus, Ohio and still be making films and stuff, but it does help to be around people who are going to have a really positive influence on you. I think when I moved out here, being around Mitchell and like Arthur Para and like Keen Luong, like those guys was super impactful on like my development, like my self-development, and like around Sam and everybody else. 'Cause I saw how they carried themselves as like professionals and like adults, whether it was filmmaking, obviously, but also, I mean, like they helped me learn how to cook more and like work out and like stay disciplined and all that. It's so bare bones basics, but like most people don't follow the basics, and that's why people harp on it so much. And those basics really like do 90% of the work, honestly. You just got to take care of yourself, and it'll solve so many of your problems in life. So I do think that you should, maybe not the city is the defining factor, but the people you surround yourself with is absolutely game changer. And maybe those people are in another city. So
it's interesting you say that, because I feel like a big gripe that people have with LA is like, oh, the people are so fucking fake out here. And I'm like, you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people, because I like you and all those guys who you've mentioned, like I've met most of them, all an incredible group of guys. And I think it's so true. It's like all about who you surround yourself with. You can find good and bad people in any city.
Totally. I mean, yeah, it's just any city. There's always going to be snakes in the grass, no matter how big or small the town is. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely dodged a couple bullets here and there, especially pre-COVID. I mean, I feel like COVID kind of smoked out a lot of those people who weren't serious about being here. But yeah, dude, I just got really fortunate, honestly. And when I saw these people who were kind of doing their own thing, because a lot of us had graduated from college or just moved here, and we were all kind of drifters to an extent, I saw like a really cool opportunity to start building this community, or at least, you know, throw a couple of these guys in a group chat and start kicking it all the time and be like a good influence, at least for each other. And, you know, maybe it'll lead to a cool paid project or something. But I mean, now I have great friends that I can just like hang out with and enjoy my life out here, like on the other side of the country, away from my family. So you gotta have that community. I think when you have that community, like all the clout and all that, it just disappears, because it doesn't matter. Like that community is just so fulfilling for like your mind and your soul and your happiness.
Yeah, totally. how far into you moving out here to LA did you start working with Zach King?
Moved here a month before COVID, and in that month I was like, okay, I need to just do as much damage as possible, like meet as many people as I can. And the very first week, or for that first week, it was like the second day I'd been here. One of the guys who I'd been following on Instagram, who I had never met yet, Jace Hardwick, I was like, hey, I am in LA, what's up? And he's like, oh, you made it. Okay, sick. Like, because I would DM these guys all the time and be like, I'm going to move. Bet on it. And like, they're like,
sounds good, man.
Let's link and build.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, sick. Not follow me back. And then, but Jace was like, oh, sick, you made it. Well, hey, we have this house party going on tonight with a bunch of filmmakers and artists and influencers come through. Like, it's a great opportunity. And I was like, oh shoot, okay, I have to go to this thing. And all my friends at the time, like some college buddies who aren't here anymore, like no one wanted to go because the party was like 2.5 hours away. And this is all leading up to Zach King. This is the origin story. But so I was just like, I'm just gonna go by myself. So I sent it out there.
Where's this party?
It was like an OC or like past OC because Jason and them went to Biola, which is also where Zach went. So I was just like, and it was pre-COVID, so like the traffic was crazy at that. It was like middle rush hour too. But so I sent it out to this party by myself. Well, actually, I wasn't by myself. I was with a couple other videographers from Texas who I just met that day, also from Instagram. I was just bringing all the Instagram homies together.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, I just turned into like a social media meetab. But so I pull up with this crew and they're like, oh, how do you know these guys? And I was like, I don't. And they're like, oh, who do you know here? And I was like, no one. And they're like, oh, welcome, what's up? So I walk into this party and like Jace runs up to me like with a vlog camera and like there's a bounce house and DJs and like it's sponsored by kombucha or whatever. And there's like a Roomba fight going on. I was just like, okay, cool. This is 100% LA. Like a good LA party, you know, there wasn't any crazy stuff going on. But at this party, I'm standing outside meeting people, and then suddenly this dude kicks the door open and like shoots his flamethrower around in there. And he's like, yo, party's inside. Like, let's roll. And I'm like, my intuition, I was just like, I feel like I need to be friends with this guy. Like we're going to be good friends. And then that actually ended up being Nate Norell.
Yeah, I thought
you feel it.
Sounded like Nate.
Yeah, he's like, whoa. Yeah, so follow me on TikTok. But so one thing yo, you should actually follow him though. He's crazy content.
So well, dude.
Yeah.
Hair flipping out.
Yeah, the hair. They still have the hair.
Oh, you had the luscious locks.
Nice.
I was like, who is this like demigod, bro? Like,
Just
what?
fire everywhere.
No, yeah, LA influencer. I was like, I did the right thing to come into this party. But we actually me and all of our homies, we call this night the pilot episode.
Nice.
Because I met so many people that led Spiderweb pretty much in every project I've done in Los Angeles. Like Jace Hardwick with Action Studios, or like a couple other of my buddies were there who led other freelance projects. And then Nate, of course, eventually led to Zach King because within that month, COVID hit and we didn't know if the world was going to end. And so I went back to Ohio and the 2 weeks turned into surprise, like 2.5 months. I'm like chilling still, paying rent. And, I'd had this crazy life change and went from a really dark place to like such a high. I mean, I mentioned earlier that I told my mom, like, I just like hate my life. And, actually, I'll get to that in a second, but, I just knew I needed to get back to LA. I had to get back. So I sent it back, hit the ground running in like early June of 2020. I didn't care if I had to like fight zombies or like get canceled or a hazmat suit or whatever, but I am literally walking up to my apartment with my luggage and I get a text from Nate, and I barely hung out with this dude at this point. And I really only at that party. And he's like, hey man, got a good rec for you. Like some friends were saying that I should reach out because we're looking for someone to just do some prep and like organization at the studio for a day or two. Because no one was in town or like working. Everyone was gone. And he was like, hey, do you want to come work for like a day? And I was like, oh dude, I'm so down. And it was for Zach. It wasn't even a shoot. And I was like, dude, I'm so down. Like, I'm your guy. Like, let me know the details and stuff. And he's like, oh, we love the attitude. Actually, we have a couple other things ramping up, like big projects. Do you want to come work for like the next 2 weeks? And I was like, oh, sick. Yeah, absolutely. So I meet the team, meet Zach, come to the studio as just a studio assistant. I'm doing like maintenance and like organization, like just cleaning up everything, getting prepped for, I think it was the David Blaine collab at the time. We were prepping up for that shoot. And a weekend, they were like, hey, do you actually want to stick around for the whole summer? Like, we love working with you, like just as a studio assistant. And, obviously I kept working and learning from Zach. It was pretty much an internship. And, it was a crazy summer. We worked with like Tony Hawk, David Blaine, Justine, like Jason Derulo. I was meeting, it was just in that year, like as if the Matt Coma thing wasn't enough. Now I'm meeting all these other celebrities, and I just never even dreamed of this. And eventually, once the summer ended, I was one of their go-to freelancers. And then Zach threw me a couple producer, director projects that were branded because he knew I wanted to direct films. So from there, he offered me a full-time position at like the end of 2021, and started working as a branded content like producer and director for the studio.
Wow. Sick. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think was the favorite collaboration that you got to work on with the studio?
Oh man.
I know that's hard. I know there's so many fun ones that are just crazy viral and whatnot, but what was one of them that you were like, oh, this one was just awesome. The people were great.
Yeah.
The talent was awesome.
Totally. I mean, we worked with so many awesome creators and people, but I mean, for me personally, we just did a CeraVe campaign for that starred Charli D'Amelio, which was a great collaboration. She was super fun to work with. Her team was great. And what stood out for me with that was Zach's ability to trust me with that project. I mean, he had me on the forefront of creative development and producing and directing that. I mean, even overseeing the entire post-production process for this campaign. Because I mean, at that point, I'd already directed like 5-ish maybe like global campaigns for CeraVe. But the scale of that was just like numbing for me. I mean, this thing performed on like the biggest animated billboard in Times Square, and then like
Hell yeah.
some buddies were sending me videos of it in the Middle East and like Asia. It was like showing in other billboards and stuff that I directed, but that was just like surreal for me. But that was just a result of Zach trusting me and giving me that opportunity to perform after seeing me do it on smaller scales prior. But I mean, the Charli D'Amelio thing was great, but definitely a cool experience. I mean, I mentioned earlier that I told my mom like I wasn't happy with my life, and I remember like summer of that summer of 2021 driving home and like calling her and being like, I've literally never been happier in my entire life. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be, which is crazy at the time. So, but yeah, it was just unreal how quickly your life can change when you take action like that.
And with the Zach King projects you're working on with Charli and with Emma Chamberlain, you're working on these like awesome pieces. How do you go about pulling the best out of the talent that you're working with, especially when you're working with people that are like massive on social, that maybe have never really people telling them they're doing anything wrong? And I'm not saying that they ever did anything wrong on set, but if they don't give you exactly what you want, how do you go about having that conversation? Because obviously you're super easy to get along with, but you're dealing with sometimes people that have radical egos. Not saying that those people have radical egos, but I'm sure that you have dealt with people like that and you're working with some of the biggest stars in the world. So how do you go about that?
Also aren't actors.
Also aren't actors. Yeah, a lot of them are just social. What are you
looking at David Blaine and be like,
yeah,
dude, you could make me disappear right now, so I gotta be careful with my words.
Right.
Yeah, dude, he did some crazy tricks for us in person too.
I
was like holding my cross. I was like, oh my god, crazy.
Power Christ repellent.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude. But
oh my god,
like making cards disappear thin air and everything. But
that's so wild.
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to working, especially because I'm in a weird part of the industry because I want to do movies, but I'm working with a lot of the social media stars. So and there's a cool crossover, like talking to a lot of those stars and creators. There is a lot of interest to try and pivot into the acting realm, which is really cool, and I'm stoked for those creators to do that. But typically, if I'm not getting what I want, I usually lean in and I'm like, hey, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? I need to see this right now. No, I'm just kidding. But but do you know how many followers I have? Way less than you. No.
Times Square, some places in the Middle East.
Have you heard of Times Square?
Right.
Yeah, I am as moisturized as it gets with the CeraVe, all right? Like, you need to... No, but I think for me, especially with Charli and Emma, it was just making them comfortable. And just, like I said earlier, being a friend, not a fan. And especially as a director. Like, I need to be professional and be someone that they can just have the ease of working with and taking notes from without seeing any ego or lack of confidence either. So for me, it was just making sure that they were super comfortable on set. Like, Charli and I were just chilling, and she even mentioned like, hey, this is such an awesome production, like your team. I haven't felt this comfortable in a long time on set, which was a huge like honor for me to hear, especially early on. So like, just, I think even if it's a star or like just a friend of yours, like Nate on set, it's just making sure that they're comfortable. Because when you're acting, like you are giving some sort of vulnerability. Like if the director doesn't like that, you know, it's easy to take that stuff personal. I think for me, one note that I would give as a director too is, and I've gotten this before, is whenever I do give those notes, like performance-based notes, I'll always walk up to the talent and just make it personal between us. Like I'm not going to be like yelling in front of the whole crew, like, oh, hey, that, can you like do that, but like more energy or like better, pretty like I'm going to, you should go up to them and be like, hey, like, and be intentional with your notes, like having that confidence of knowing exactly what you want to say and like why, and making sure that you're protecting their like vulnerability as well. So definitely making sure that they're comfortable.
Take was trash.
Yeah.
Dorothy sucked.
It was
Who
usable.
hired this guy?
Yeah, it was usable. Let's run it back, you know?
Is there a difference between directing a music video and a commercial?
Yeah, I mean, like, and it's interesting because the last one we did with Sam was like branded. Actually, most of them have been branded. So it's kind of a commercial, like hybrid. Yeah. But I think with music videos, there's a lot more room for improv and just having fun on set and like, oh, let's try this with the camera. We have time. Let's just go crazy with it, with the motion. I mean, the camera can sometimes be an extra character or a dancer on set, but at least with my recent commercials, it's a lot more scripted. But I like that because I like to treat my commercial work as like prep for my first feature film and stuff, to just really flush out, like sticking to the script and executing effectively so that I can still have that extra space to get that improv in if I need to. But there's a lot more risk, I think, with commercial work versus music video, like at least with just financially with the budget. But nothing too different in terms of just like the etiquette I try to bring on the set.
So you also got signed recently to an agency, correct? Mundane Collective.
Oh yeah, so Mundane is I signed with them as a roster director. I'm on a few rosters, like I'm non-exclusive, but let's go.
You're non-exclusive, so you can go with any other houses as well.
I threw them on there. It's a startup in North Carolina. They do a bunch of like awesome commercial work and nonprofit stuff too. But yeah, I'm on a few rosters like in North Carolina and Los Angeles. And I have a manager now too, but that's like been an interesting step in my directing journey, just to get on those rosters and start bidding and competing and pouring into these other like companies and communities to get different levels of projects.
And so when you were at Zach's, and I'm assuming now it's a little different, are you having to write all of these treatments now? And before, was Zach writing them with you, or did they have a designer in house who was writing all the treatments for you guys? How did that kind of work now that you're on your own, like with these different agencies that you're signed to?
Yeah, totally. How
do you, and also are you a good drawer?
I used to draw all the time. I'm trying to get back into it.
You like do your own storyboards and shit?
I'll doodle a little bit, but I have a couple of homies who will do some storyboarding and concept art. I've been really diving into concept art a lot too. Just like when it comes to the creative writing, it can really, motivate you when you're hitting that writer's block. But I'm all about the previs. Like I'm a huge believer that the film is made in pre-production. Like you can't over prep. You should honestly always over prep for this kind of stuff. But I've always been on the forefront of like creative writing, which has been like a really awesome opportunity because I do want to be a writer director for my first feature and for most of my larger projects. I'm not sure how much I can say under NDA, but like at least at King Studio, I was very involved with the creative. Like Zach was a great mentor and I learned so much from him, but I also was very involved with the writing process, especially from pretty much every project I directed. So making that pivot to freelance and joining these rosters and doing my own personal projects hasn't really been much of a change. It's just more so I got to kick it into the next gear because now I'm like, it's a lot more competitive. At King Studio, the clients would, just want to see what we are already offering. Like they already believe in the value. Now I got to really compete and challenge my own creativity, which is great. Like that's the only way to get better, is just to, like get yourself in that outside of that comfort zone. Has
it been really nice to have someone to help you with the treatments that you're making / what are you looking for in that person that's helping you with that stuff?
Yeah. So like helping with the creative treatments?
Exactly. Yeah. Cause I mean, I don't think most people don't know how that process works. So if you could explain when they come to you with a brief, you're probably going up against 5 other directors that are also getting this brief too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can you explain kind of that process?
Totally. I mean, it can come in a few different shapes and sizes. I think for the most part, the brand will come to you with a general parameter of like what they want deliverable wise, and then it's up to you as a director or the creative to, you know, build that creative vision and pitch like an original concept to them through that pitch deck. But there's been, at least at King Studio and other projects where I'm being bidded for, studios will come with already pre-existing creative, and it's just a matter of having that portfolio that pre-exists for them to be like, oh, Dylan is a great fit for that project. So it's been a mix mash of like working with a creative or working with a pre-existing creative that you can elevate. But I think that treatment really is important, like diving in and pulling that inspo, whether it's from like your favorite films or conversations and friends or whatever medium of art, and pulling that all together to create a treatment that is reflective of your script. So yeah.
And you also shot. So you have a camera, you have the red, you have a...
I have a red Gemini.
Big Gemini guy.
Yeah, big red guy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll forget.
I'm a Capricorn, but Gemini's pretty sick.
Nice.
Wait, do you feel like, and I feel a certain way about this, do you think that every director should know how to shoot?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's so important for anyone getting into filmmaking to just know what every department does. I think, I've worked in locations. I've PA'd plenty of times and I'll still PA. Sound, lighting, genie, catering, everything. I think, especially going to be a good leader, director, producer, knowing exactly how every department works, so you can help solve those problems or know who to delegate those problems to and communicate effectively what you're trying to do is absolutely going to make you a better director or just a better filmmaker in general, especially starting off when you can't have the luxury of a big crew. You know, when you're your own one-man band, that is the time and the opportunity to just learn as much as possible and to put yourself through those challenges so that when you do get that crew, you know exactly how to lead.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just so important. I feel like it comes true. You can tell when a director like came from like painting or writing or something. It just like, it's not as like, I don't know, visual. It's a different language. Like they're talking a different like language of their crew almost. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't like fucking communicate. You can kind of tell.
Yeah, no, totally.
Not to shit on them. But.
Yeah, I know. I was on a shoot. This is a minute ago, but the person was wearing some fucking crazy outfit,
like
dude.
Orange and stuff.
Oh no, dude, like a leotard with like leopard shit, and I'm like sunglasses inside. I'm about it in the airport, but not on set. You know,
right,
I'm about sunglasses in the
right.
airport, not on set. I'm like, how the fuck is she seeing this? How are we looking at the monitor, dude? You can't even see the monitor.
Right.
Not speaking at all. I'm like, what? The AD was doing everything. I'm like, this is crazy. This is like wild. But,
yeah, it's crazy out in LA for sure. I mean, I'm like, whenever it comes to shooting on set, I'm like, do I dress kind of homeless or do I wear a suit? Like, what's going to make me look more like a director?
A little bit of both.
Yeah. I feel like in LA, it's that flies. It's either like bougie stuff or homeless.
I'll come out here though sometimes. You're about sunglasses in our apartment. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'll come out here and Brayden's just like looking at his phone with his sunglasses on.
AirPods in too.
He likes it dark. He just likes it dark.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it on set though. I gotta see the monitor.
You gotta see the monitor.
You know what I mean?
You can't reflect, dude.
Yeah, can't you?
Car stuff, you always wear black. It's
Yeah.
kind of easier because you can't reflect, you know?
You can't let them see the panic in your eyes.
No,
Like,
yeah, that's...
When is your first like feature? When would you like to direct that?
Man,
You're about manifestation, you know?
Straight up.
Like,
Yeah, put it out there right now.
yeah. So first short film, we're going to be shooting in January.
Bang.
Yeah. And,
oh, that's coming up.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I'm literally sweating like right now because I'm like, oh my God, I need to finish the script. But first short film is going to be shot in January, and then hopefully, or not hopefully, it will be premiering at Sam Newton's film premiere
Fun.
this February.
Hell yeah.
So come through for that. It'll be sick.
Oh, I
turnaround.
want to come.
Yeah, you
When,
should come through. Yeah.
What can you tell us what it's about, or is that?
It's so it's a horror action film. Pretty much the premise, without revealing too much, is a bunch of the homies get together and they hunt down this eldritch horror that's terrorizing their hometown, and it can like steal your voice and like lure you into the darkness and stuff. So it's like, I think like Stranger Things or The Ritual on Netflix meets like Sicario or like The Lost Boys.
Car is a great one.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, with a short film like that, you're bringing in your buddies, right? And I'm
Yeah.
sure people want to make short films. They're like, people want to make short films all the time. They talk about it for years.
Yeah.
They never do it. And so how long did this process take you from coming up with the concept? And obviously money is involved. You have the camera though, thank God. You have the camera.
Yeah, yeah.
You already got the camera covered. But how else are you going to bring in other, departments? You need lights. You have to rent that stuff. What kind of comes into play when you're making your own short film and your friends are helping you with it?
Totally. When I moved out here initially, I definitely was still, I was googly eyed and whoa, I'm in LA, but I was still strategic about, okay, I need to build this roster for myself. Who are going to be my DPs? Who are going to be my editors? This guy has like a grip truck. I'm going to keep his tab and like make sure, like, how can I offer value to them? So then we can have that working relationship, and down the road when I need to ask that favor or, get them on a project, like a passion project, that I can pull together this full production of people that I can rely on. So for me, I think it's just being very observant and intentional with the people that you meet along the way on your journey, and just seeing where those puzzle pieces can fit together to build those crews and those dream teams for those projects. Because for me, any project that I'm crewing out, which I usually build the crews for all my own films and music videos and everything, they're always very custom made for those projects. Like the DP and the producer and everyone involved is intentional, depending on like what kind of like project I'm making, but also like the atmosphere I want to have on set. Like, is this going to be more of like we're all having a good time, or do we need to be like super focused, like laser pointer ready to go? So just building that roster is going to pay off big time. I mean, for me, I'm definitely going to have to pull a few favors here and there, but with the right investors, having that, like, those resources to pull what I can and to pull in those people that are also excited about this project is going to help me in the long run for sure.
I think what you said though about on the networking side of things is so important. You're talking about people who you connected with in 2020, and now it's about to be 2024.
Check
like
his computer to see what
Yeah,
year
he
was.
didn't even know, dude.
Couldn't remember how to look at it.
Anyways, we're 4 years, into 3.5, 4 years, whatever, into you meeting these people, and it's about building those relationships over time to then eventually ask that favor. I feel like oftentimes you meet someone new and like maybe you'll ask the favor, or like it's just like not warranted yet. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you've done a great job of like building those relationships over the years, and then when the time comes, okay, now it is warranted to ask, as opposed to kind of like shooting yourself in the foot and asking too early.
Totally. And I think it's also just, it's not even like a matter of, I'm like waiting to take my shot or whatever. It's more like, hey, how can I like bring value to these people, not only as like a filmmaker, but like as a friend or with my relationship with them, to just build that trust. And whether it's a year from now or 4 years from now or 10 years from now, if I'm helping them out, hopefully that friendship will be there for them to help me out, whether I ask for it or not. So, and just to be able to rely on them as a friend. So yeah, I mean, it takes time, and you definitely don't want to overstep, but I think you avoid the overstepping by being in it for the right reasons and being like genuine about your intentions.
Yeah, and like, how can I genuinely help this person out, as opposed to it being a one-sided street?
Totally.
How do you go about balancing like projects that you get paid for, like commercial stuff, or like this where it's like passion project, like you want to be doing more of this in the future, but like you're not like necessarily like making a ton of money? Like, how do you are you doing like one for them, one for me kind of thing, or like how do you go about balancing that?
Yeah, I think like you asked earlier, how long does it take for me to write and create these creative passion projects? And those are definitely a much longer process. You really got, I mean, for me at least, I really marinate on the creative and pull deep from like, okay, why am I telling this story? Like, what inspiration can I pull to start building this? And that takes a lot more time than like a quick turnaround of like, boom, client, here's what we want you to make. You got 3 weeks or a month or whatever. So I think it just kind of works out in a sense of, you do need to learn to say no early on, especially as you get more successful and like get more opportunity. Saying no becomes super important. But I honestly, I'm still figuring out the balance thing. I think it really is just prioritizing less items, but those like pouring more into those few items, really just pouring more into like the less but more essential things in your life. So for me, at least, it's a short film, and then ideally like 1, maybe 2 branded projects a month, and just going 100% on those as well. If that's, I mean, that doesn't really make sense mathematically, but you know what I mean? And just making sure that the schedule lines up. But at the end of the day, there really is no balance. I mean, I'm still young. I feel like this is a good time at least to not have that balance and just kind of full send it. So
Hell yeah.
What do you think is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I mean, for me, I think what I said earlier with making sure you go out and create yourself rather than waiting on finding yourself. I mean, that resulted in like actual tangible results. I think it kind of gave me that extra push to get out into Los Angeles. And I think it is very true. I mean, everything I've done out here, whether it's moving to LA or becoming like a healthier version of myself mentally and physically, or pouring into a relationship or making a project, it was just a matter of like stopping the procrastination and just being like, okay, I need to just stop talking about this and dreaming about it and fantasizing about it, and just like take action and do it. Like today is the day, like you just need to do it and pour 100% of yourself into creating this opportunity. So, if anyone is going to walk away from this podcast, definitely just make sure that you're going out and creating yourself, because you can do it. Like anything is possible if you just truly get after it.
I think
Damn, we just went full circle, dude.
well, I think it's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if you have some kid come up to you, maybe a few years down the line, and be like, I listened to this podcast and like your words helped me. And I think that's like the beautiful thing about having this podcast is like, maybe some kid hears that and it's like, you're the reason why he takes the actionable steps to get where he wants to be.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's like half the reason I got into filmmaking, honestly, is like, I feel like since the beginning of time, humanity has always looked for that like immortality, whether it was like the fountain of youth or the Holy Grail or whatever. But I think today the like true form of like immortality in a non-religious sense is filmmaking, because you can take like an experience you had in your life, or like take an emotion that someone you love made you feel, and immortalize that in a scene or in a story for other people to experience when you're long gone. Like I would love to, tell stories heavily inspired by my family and friends, so that when we're all gone, like the way that they made me feel loved, or the way that I like lived my life, can live on, and also like have that impact like you're talking about. I think having that impact, whether it's obviously, millions of people like we've seen with all these influencers, like crazy outreach, but also just having that impact on one person is like, you've done your job. If it's just that one kid who like needed to hear it.
Yeah.
So
do you have a piece of advice that you would give to your 18-year-old self if you could talk to yourself?
Oh man, that's funny, because I literally had a dream a couple weeks ago where I like walked into myself at like my 10th year birthday, and it was like one of those dreams where it felt super real. And I like walked up and I saw my parents and like all these other kids, and it was like literally exactly what I remember. But no one could see me except myself. And my kid version like didn't know who I was, but I knew who he was. And I was just like, just laughing with him. And I was just like, dude, you're going to do great. Like just enjoy your life. And I think for me, looking back, like to my 18-year-old self, I would tell myself, enjoy the moments with the people around you. Like everything is going to be all right, but those relationships are like everything. Like you should pour into those and just appreciate the present, because that's like your story at the end of the day. You should like pour into your own story as well. So, and just shoot more content. I need to shoot more and like make those films. Future film drop in 2024.
All your shot.
Call it, baby.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 87 of the 505 Pod. If you're still here, please hit that subscribe button, leave us a like, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Later.
Bye.